guys, my name is Jude and welcome. Today I am here to show you my top 5 books, favorite books of 2015. Why only top 5? Because I only read 20 books in 2015, or at least I'm hoping. I still need to finish 100 pages today and I make the challenge. But it's 20 books in a year and it might not be much to many of you or most of you, and I get that, but to me it was a lot actually, and I'm really proud because I made time to read, because lifing was complicated and adulting. Trying to adult is complicated. And I already made a video of like the whole year in review and what I read in general, which you can check out clicking here or somewhere in the description box below. I'm hoping it's already up. So these books are actually placed in order, and yeah, here are the favorites that I read this year. Note that they are not released in 2015. I think one of them is, but apart from that, they are all they were already on my shelf and I just read them. So yeah, they're favorite books that I read during this 2015. Yeah. So in place number 5, I have A Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I feel like it's a weird book to have because it's a fantasy book, and I usually it's not like an all-time favorite of mine where I'm like, oh my god, the meaning of life was in this book and it was so great and it tore my soul into pieces. But it was such a fun, adventurous book, and it was what I wanted when I picked it up, and I'm just so happy that it gave me what I wanted, if that makes sense. I had some troubles with it and certain things, you know, if, like with almost any book, there's things that are like, but I've enjoyed it so much, and I've had such a good time, and ending, like right now is the year's ending, or it probably already ended by the time this video is up. I'm just really liking it, and I have it on my mind, and I cannot wait to continue with the series. I'm just pumped up, so it's definitely a favorite of this year. I really liked it, really enjoyed it, so good times. On place number 4, I have A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. It's gonna be made into a movie. I'll link the trailer down below. I'm so excited to watch it. It looks epic. And I read this with a friend, and it's really short. It's a really beautiful book, like with all the illustrations and everything. And it was like a really deep book, and I love the metaphors in it, and it really touched my soul, as cliche as that may sound. Got right in my feels, and it was great. I definitely feel like this book would have helped me a lot more through many of my issues had I read it before. But I read it when I don't know, I think it's a big metaphor. This book is a huge metaphor about dealing with your demons in a literal way. Like here, there's literally a monster coming to harass a young Connor. I think that's his name. Yeah, Connor, there's a monster literally coming for him. And that can be seen as your demons haunting you until you face the reality of the things you need to face. We all have our own demons, and we all deal with them in different ways. And I've dealt with mine already after years and years of therapy and things and whatnot. So I'm definitely now in a different place, but I appreciated this book so much, and it made me think of my whole recovery journey and all of the good things. But yeah, it was such a poof book, you know, it hurt, it feels. It's a great book, highly recommended. It's great. It was really short, it's great. On 3rd place, I have An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This book was a pleasant surprise. I watched the miniseries of Tut, the Tutankhamun series thingy. And when I finished watching it, it's 3 episodes, but when I finished watching them, I was like, oh, I want to keep feeling this sort of like adventure-y feeling in Egypt. It's not in Egypt, but I don't know, I feel like the setting is sort of similar. So I would look at this book in the shelf and I'd be like, maybe. And after the first 1.5-hour long episode ended, I was like, I'm gonna read a little bit of it. And I read a little bit of it. And then I watched the 2nd episode and I read a little bit more, and then the 3rd one, and I just binge read this in like 3 days. And it was so great. It was so action-packed and cool. I am dying to continue with the sequel. It was such a fun, adventurous time. So good, so good. Really enjoyed it. I have no complaints about it. It was great. I loved that Sabaa Tahir was not afraid to make her character suffer, because holy shit did they suffer and went through a lot. It's a really fun time. I mean, it's not like a deep, meaningful book. Again, it's just a really good time, but it's like a really, really, really good time. time about adventure and loyalty and doing what's right and what's wrong and adventures, and yeah, 5 stars because it was so great. Number 2 favorite on this list. I don't know if you guys know which book this is. It is Fishes by V.E. Schwab. Okay, so this book I read after reading my top 1 book. I'm not gonna tell you yet. You probably know which one it is, but still. So I read my favorite book of the 2015, and when I finished reading that book, I was like, this is gonna be my favorite of the year. I knew it. And I finished with it, and I was like, I just want a really good book. I want a really, really good book. And I picked up this one because I had heard that it was a really good book, and it did not disappoint. Fishes is an amazing book. It's so amazing. It's about an anti-hero, but it's more than that. This book really explores what it means to be good and what it means to be bad, and that we're not necessarily one or the other. Because as I was reading this, I found that I wanted to root for one of the characters, but it was like, every single character in this book is a shitty human. Dog, stop snoring. Can you hear that? She's snoring. Can you like stop breathing for a sec there? Just stop it. Nope. Wake up. Wake up. All of the characters were so flawed, and I had never read such flawed characters before ever in a book. I feel like authors oftentimes want to make their characters likable, you know, so that you relate to them and then you continue with the story and you find someone that can anchor you to the story and you can follow it through with them. But V.E. Schwab was like, fuck that, I'm gonna make real, raw characters. And she did that, and I am so thankful for her for that. I had never read such real characters before, and I have a full review for it that I talk for like 20 minutes about how great it is. And not because it's mine, but I recommend you watch it. I just went in depth into what I loved about this book, so yeah. It just made me realize so many things. Oh my god, dog. It just made me question morality and all of the things and really what it means to be human and making mistakes and what humanity is, and yeah, I loved it. Had never ever encountered such flawed characters in books and loved it quite as much. Such a good book. Highly recommend it. It's so great. And now my top favorite book. I gotta say that I struggled a lot between Vicious and the one that I chose as number 1. So tough choice, but no, this one was so good. So my top book of 2015, the one that I enjoyed most this year is... You probably already know which one it is. It's The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book, this little book over here, wow. I can't say much of it. Like, the story wasn't like this epic adventure of sorts, like an Ember and the Ashes, or like I didn't discover much about the meaning of things like with fishes, or explore the side of humanity and what it means to be human, or facing your own demons or whatnot. Like, I don't know, it didn't have much of that, but what it did have was the most beautiful writing style I have ever encountered. I had never felt what I felt in my life when reading this. I started this book and it starts off in a really weird way, and it's like, what am I reading exactly? And then you get a little bit more into it, and then eventually you're just sucked into it, and it becomes this whole magical thing. I felt the beauty of being between the circus and the smell of the popcorn and the caramel apples and all that stuff. It sounds nuts right now, but it's a story about magic, and I felt magic when I was reading it, and that's all I think one can ask of a book. Whenever you read a book, you want to be like sucked into it and just be like, oh my god, it's so magical and so beautiful, and this book gave me that completely and in a way that no other book had before, and that is due to the writing style. So yeah, there's quite a few people that don't like it because nothing happens to them and they think it's really slow paced and not quite as action packed as they would hope. But as I said, if you start reading it and you don't start getting that bubbly magical feeling inside after 50 pages, I don't think it's gonna get better. And I'm really, really sorry for you. Not in a bad bitchy way, I really don't. But I feel like you're missing out on something great that I found here. It I'm so thankful that I liked it, that I felt what I did. I feel like I can only talk about this book with other people that read it and felt that same thing, because people that like it liked it a lot and felt the thing, because I lent it to my friend and she read it and she was like, oh, I get it now, it's so magical. And then we were just like fangirling all over, like, oh my god, I get it! Because we both felt the magic. So I felt the magic, and no book had ever made me feel the way that I felt with this book. I really loved it and I'm so thankful to this book. I have a full review for it if you want to check it out also. I think I made more structured thoughts on it there. But it was such a beautiful experience, such a beautiful book, and well, yeah, I want to read it like 5 years from now when I sort of forget what it felt like and I just go back to it and it's like all new again, because it was so great. So yeah, this was my favorite book of 2015. It was all about the experience of reading it, and it was a beautiful, magical, great experience. And that's it! These are my top 5 books of 2015. It was an exciting year and I read really good things. So yeah, do let me know which are your top 5 favorite books in the comment section. Just list them there, your 5 favorite books of 2015. And if you guys made a video or a blog post talking about your favorite books of the year, do link it down below so that I can go check it out, because I would love to see what you have to say about the things that you read and that you liked, and what did you like and why did you like it. And that's it from my part. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!